The internet brings comic fans around the world into one comic community. We support the just pay and recognition of these comic creators' comic fam. Because comics are for everyone. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, live from the United States to Australia. This is the Not Near Mint Show. Welcome to the Not Near Mint Show, everybody. Today is July the 13th, 2022, the 151st episode of Not Near Mint. Tonight we have a very special guest. She does her very own podcast. She has a link tree that is in the description below. Her name is Solo Nerdbird, and why don't we join the rest of the panel and say hi to Kaylee. Hi, Kayla.
Hello.
So you have a channel. Well, thank you so much for coming. And Ace scheduled you a little while back, and I started watching some of your shows on YouTube, and you've been doing this for a little while. So what got you into the comic community, doing interviews with fellow creators?
Well, I started doing the show about 3 years ago. Actually, it was just to try to document a lot of the things that are going on here in Baltimore City as far as like the nerd culture that I feel like a lot of people weren't talking about. And then fast forward to, I believe it was like March of 2021, a comic creator named Calvin Chambers, who is the writer and creator of Icarus Metro Comics, reached out to me because he was doing a Kickstarter, and he was like, hey, do you mind doing an interview with me about my Kickstarter? And I was like, sure. And then maybe like a week leading up to the interview, I was scrambling to figure out how to do it because I actually never interviewed anybody before ever. So it was a bit of a struggle. I kind of wrote it on a piece of paper before I started doing it on the computer and kind of just made it up as I go. So what helped me do the interviews was just to think of it as creators talking to other creators. You know, being a writer myself is just asking questions about, hey, how's your creative process? And how do you deal with writer's block? How do you deal with settling with and even researching collaborators? And, you know, how does all of this affect your mental health? How do you manage everything, you know, what you're creating and managing your day-to-day life with partners, children, you know, full-time job or whatever it may be. So that's pretty much how I approach every interview, is just one creator speaking to another one.
Well, if through some of the people that you've had on your show so far, have you noticed that you're starting to now become fans of some of these creators? And if you've gone from reading nothing from a particular creator and all of a sudden you blow through an entire issue and go, wow, this is one of my new favorite writers, do you have to calm yourself down in a way that won't be gushing all over the place? Because we've done that here.
Yeah, I try not to fanboy too much, at least publicly, because then I don't want anyone to think I'm playing favorites with anyone, especially those that I've interviewed multiple times. Again, I've interviewed Calvin Chambers twice. He was on my panel that I did at BlurCon. Also, Ro Lamb, I've interviewed him twice. And I believe some other people that are coming on twice as well. Again, I'm a fan of their work, but I don't want to, I guess, publicly announce that because I don't want people to think I'm playing favorites, like I said.
Well, it kind of reminds me of another good friend of mine who has 4 dogs. I don't know how. Yet every single time one jumps on her lap, you're my favorite doggy. You're my favorite dog. Anybody that comes on our show, the week they appear on our show, just by the virtue that they showed up, they are my favorite creator right then and there.
Yeah. I totally agree.
So with some of the creators we've had on our show, I mean, like we've had Philip Miara, who prior to ever appearing on our show, never heard of him, wrote some great things that I know a Kickstarter didn't fully go through last time with Purple Eyes, but he's persevering. And when he comes on the show, I kind of gush a bit. I don't mean to, but every now and then we're human and we're fans. And the funny thing is, when it comes to other comic book fans, you kind of get a feeling after a couple minutes when they let their guard down that, wait a second, they're just like us. They're introverts. They don't exactly communicate on the best level until you go, wait a second, a comic book like Saga. And all of a sudden, 30 minutes go by and you go, I haven't said a word. Wow, they're really into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try to leave the interviews open, general open-ended questions for them. I try not to insert myself too much because I don't want them to think, I'm using their time as my time. So if like I said, I mean, I try to leave it for them. Like if they want to rant and ramble, just like go for it. I like it when they kind of just go on a tangent about something. I really enjoy that. Again, this is their time to speak. So I just leave it to them.
So with the creators that you've had on, you do these in edited videos. So have you found it better or a little easier doing it edited as opposed to doing it live?
I think it's more of what I feel more comfortable with. Um, I try to warn my guests before we go live that I have dogs. So they may start barking at some point, and I can't really control that when I'm live. Whereas if I'm editing it, I can maybe try to get them out of it, or um, I can mute myself a lot better. I can catch it, and it's just something I feel more comfortable with. I've never really gone live with my own interviews, only when someone interviews me. So, I mean, if you want to share any tips about how I can do that, I'd really appreciate it because I'm still kind of scared to do any live shows.
Well, Kirk has a good question in here, but here's pretty much what we do. After we've been around for a little while and we're on social media, we'll just drop out there, hey, if you want to appear, shoot us a link and we have a separate email. And through that, they'll contact us. Ace, prior to the show commencing, we were talking about that before. We vet people to make sure that they're not a part of that certain segment of very loud, but a very small minority of the community that's very annoying. So that way we're not publicizing them, we're not giving them a platform, and we're putting out there people that are new creators that have a voice that realize it's not about what I like, it's about what everybody likes. So they realize that there's not just Marvel, there's not just DC, there's not just Image, there's a plethora of all this other stuff out there that Comic Tom might not be touching on. Swaggle House, they're telling you about, hey, Wonder Man has a new movie that 3 years out, but hey, you should buy his first appearance for an ungodly amount of money. It's all up to what you want out of a channel, because at the end of the day, this is just fun. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
some people, they're doing this for money, but like anything else, eventually fame wears away, eventually the money goes away, and if this is stress, it'll just wear on your heart and it's not going to be fun anymore.
Exactly.
But you look like you're having a great amount of fun when you're doing these interviews.
Does it?
It
I just, I
does.
just,
It looks
I
like
just,
you're a little worried at first, but after about 2-3 minutes, it's kind of like this show. We can be a little stilted at the beginning because we're feeling a person out, trying to find out. It's like, are they going to just give us yes, no, or will they talk?
yeah, it is like that sometimes. I think I like I said, I have the questions already written down in a way, formatted in a way that I don't really have to do a lot of editing afterwards, and it helps me stay on the on course as far as asking questions. But yeah, you still get the people that do like yes or no that don't really elaborate on anything. I try to, get them to talk a little bit more, but I can't force them to. So the episode may be like 10 minutes long, and some I've had where they're like over an hour. Where it's like I kind of have to cut them off because then the video will cut off. So
Yeah, earlier in the in us doing this kind of stuff, I had different types of banners. So I'd have the weekday banners, and then we were trying to do these things on weekends. And if you have a day job like some of us here, you might enjoy doing this, but you'll realize very soon how much time it takes up out of your life. And it goes from being something fun and joyous to, oh my God, I hate this. Why am I doing this? But
Yeah.
we created these other banners for weekend banners, and it'll show you how long ago these are. The 108th episode, last time I've used this. But I wound up having things like, questions for the guest, such as, so what did you pick up this week? Or are you a current comic book reader? Why do you write comics? And after a while, I stopped putting them up as banners because I was just copying and pasting people's names. And then I realized I'm making mistakes. And
Mhm.
overall, live YouTube, more often than not, people aren't going to watch this ever again. So it's fine to make mistakes. And the reality of life is nobody knows what they're doing. No one who has ever existed knows what they're doing or ever will. Everything everybody has ever learned, they've learned from other people or through trial and error. So confidence is largely bullshit. And when you see somebody really confident, you have to ask yourself kind of a question like, does this person actually know what they're talking about? Or is this an act? Because if they sound like they know what they're talking about, it's probably a couple nuggets of information and they're still learning, but they haven't gotten that Dunning Kruger fact through their head yet. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, nobody knows what they're doing and it's fine. This is how we make mistakes and we grow, and some people get better, or you become like me and you never grow and you don't be me.
Yeah, when I was doing the panel at BlurCon, it was about it was a Q&A sit down with urban fantasy writers because I'm also an urban fantasy author. And I was with two comic book people, Ro Lamb, who does Scarlet Ranger. He has a Kickstarter up right now if anyone's interested. And Calvin Chambers, again, who does Icarus Metro. They're both fantasy set in the city. That's pretty much what urban fantasy is. And you know, I was surprised. First of all, I was surprised that a lot of people even showed up because it was 11:30 on a Sunday, and I thought everybody would be leaving. I was like, they're so busy leaving out of their hotel. Why would they bother to come to a panel at 11:30 in the morning? But like half of the room was full, which was pretty nice. And then I tried to ask pretty much the same questions that I asked on the show, and then leave the questions open to all of the guests that showed up. And they asked a lot of questions, and I tried to sound like that I knew what I was talking about because I mean I published two books, and both processes were very different from the previous ones, and just kind of take a little bit from each interview and all of my experience and bring it into this panel. So yeah, I just try to sound like I know what I'm talking about and just, enunciate my words and be very clear about it. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said before we started, someone had came up to me and thanked me for the panel and that it was very informative. And I was like, I hope you got what you wanted. So, because I have no idea, I have no clue.
I think that's mostly like history. We read back at people that have existed and try and research what they've done that was successful. But more often than not, it was just making the right decisions at the right time and learning what worked, what didn't work. And here, oh, hey, Barbarian, and I wanted to thank you for what you sent the other week. I have it filed and I need to make a list. Uh, so doing these kinds of things where when you rush, you make mistakes. And that was something I had to learn the hard way. Doing a job where I'm doing court reporting, which is kind of like doing a podcast, but you're doing it on the fly and running from place to place. And I would make the same mistakes doing this show where, oh, just like coming on to here, I'm rushing, I'm speaking a mile a minute, and I forgot to plug the microphone in. Or how you were talking before with one of the creators that was on your show, when you're doing something that's edited, you have to put all the bio information in there, and you might forget a hashtag, or you might forget to put some of the information of the person. 3 months go by and they go, hey, remember when I was on your show? Yeah. Why? It still says guest information here 4 months later. When we rush, we make mistakes. So we'll just slow down.
Yeah, I've I've done that with certain information in a caption or what have you in description. There was actually an interview that I did that we record on Zoom and it didn't record, and I called it like 15 minutes into it, and I was like, I
Let's
can't.
do it again.
I didn't want to start over again. So when he finished, I was like, can we do this again? I was actually really I was kind of tired. I'm not even gonna lie about that. So I was like, I'm really tired, and I don't think I did a really good job. Do you mind if we do this like tomorrow? And he agreed to do it. So I just kind of took all the blame for it in a way. I didn't tell him that it didn't record, but like I said, I took all the blame for it, and he agreed to it. And you just have to kind of just roll with it in a way, which is what I've learned as well doing these interviews.
Yeah, there's a program that I'm a part of where it says progress, not perfection. Because when we try and be perfect all the time, we're going to lose our ever loving mind.
Yes, I've
And
lost
we
my
don't
mind a
want
couple of
to.
times.
Way back in the day when I first started just watching these comic book YouTube things, and it was one of these auction sort of deals where it goes from person to person and you think you're muted and then they pop over to your screen and somebody is yelling profanities at their kid going, God damn it, this is daddy's time right now. I'm trying to sell some fucking book. And I'm going,
Oh wow.
you had some good books up there up until you started screaming at your kid like a psychopath, and now I want nothing to do with you. Because when we're
Yeah.
rushing, we make mistakes.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But another thing that I had to learn kind of the hard way when uh, doing these YouTube shows, ultimately, I started doing this and reaching out to people like Ace, to Lady Fantastic, to Kirk Comics on the Mind, because in my personal life, I don't have anybody to talk comic books with. I'm too old for that now. I'm in my 40s. The only people I can talk to about comics now, I'm going to look a little weird being an old man going, hey, did you read the latest issue of ASM? No. Do you have candy in your van, sir? So, when doing these shows, when we first started having guests, we would all be on 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour before the show would start. And some of the best conversation was not even broadcasted. And when our guests would come on, we'd have these great conversations. And then the show starts. And so, what's your book about? It's like, didn't we already talk about this? God damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I don't mind rehashing it out again. I try to when they try to talk to me beforehand, I'm like, okay, we have to stop because I'm pretty sure you're not going to have this same flow when we actually bringing up in conversation as you do now. So, I mean, like I said, you know, I've done it a few times in this interview in the last 20 minutes. You know, we've spoken beforehand. Particularly, I've spoken with Ace about certain things. Again, with BlurCon, I keep saying with BlurCon, BlurCon, BlurCon. Um, but it happens really, and I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with rehashing information. But I try to stop them in the beginning, like, hey, let's save it for the actual interview itself.
Yeah, the to summarize, or how some of the attorneys do when all of a sudden they go, objection asked and answered. That's when they have to go, shit, well, that screwed me up. Oh, I'll just ask it in a different way. That's all you have to do, just ask it in a different way.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk about some of the things that you still read, some of the comics that got you into being where you are today. What got you to start reading comics?
I was more of a graphic novel girl and not a comics person. Now I don't know. I don't really pick up comics from stores. I kind of like the webtoon comics. I kind of
Mm.
like that. It's just more convenient for me. Um, what am I reading now? I think it's the Batman one. Uh, and then what is it? Lore Olympus is a big one.
I
Um,
love Lore Olympus.
yeah, when I first started reading it, it was I had never heard of it, when I first started reading it, I saw some merchandise on Hot Topic, and I was like, "What is Lore Olympus?" And then I went to the link to the comic, and I was up until like almost 2 in the morning, and I had to go to work in like 4 hours, and I pretty much read not even all of it. I think I still had maybe another 50 chapters to go, and I read it when I was at work. That's how much I really love Lore Olympus. And then what else? I don't know. There is one other one that I'm reading now. I'm gonna pull it up really fast. It is To the Stars. This one that I'm reading, and then yeah, the Batman one. Sorry, the Batman was Batman Wayne Family Adventures. So it's pretty much Batman and all the people that he pretty much adopted into his family. So
He seems
um
to be adopting a lot of people in his family, and not all of them survive.
no.
Worst father ever.
No, let's see. I think that's pretty much it. And then yeah, I don't read a lot of comics. Again, I'm more into graphic novels. Um and I don't even think I've read any graphic novels lately. I'm in my office right now, and I just reorganized my bookshelf. So all of my comics that I did read and graphic novels are in my bookshelf. So I don't have anything in here anymore. Um, but yeah. So let me see. What was the other question?
Well, we're going to throw up the question that Comics on the Mind had earlier. How do you find creators to interview? And you can answer that while looking for something you want to show.
Sure. So like I said before, Calvin Chambers reached out to me because he had a Kickstarter that he wanted to promote. And so that's pretty much where I go to find my creators is Kickstarter, uh, crowdfunder. I just interviewed two co-writers, Leslie Julian and AJ O'Mason, for their crowdfunder for Head Cases issue number 1. That's up now. I think the Kickstarter, I mean, not Kickstarter, I'm sorry, the crowdfunder ends, I believe, on the 21st of this month of July. Um, so yeah, and then I started going on to different discords that people invited me onto. I go there and I'm like, hey, does anyone have anything that they want to promote their comics or anything like that? And it's not just comics people that I interview. I've interviewed other authors. I've interviewed musicians. I've interviewed like like illustrators. Pretty much anyone that is a independent creator and even like a business owner as well. If you're trying to get your business off the ground, their interviews are free. That's kind of like an incentive that I put in there, because apparently I didn't know this, that a lot of people pay to have their interviews. It's probably, I guess, part of their marketing and publicity for their companies or publications, what have you. So I didn't know that. So yeah, I try to put that in there as capitalized and in bold, like they're free. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm still surprised at the people that are willing to pay to do interviews, because not a one of them have asked us to say, hey, we'll give you money. I know that Ace has gotten a couple, hey, we want to talk to you about a certain product, but we'll discuss about that a little bit later. Unless, Ace, are you there?
Yeah.
Are we going to
Hi.
talk about that tonight?
Oh, yeah, hold on. Okay. The camera won't turn on. Hold on a second. Boop. Okay. So, I got a little box in the mail from Takis. Boom. Eat Takis. They're delicious. They have nuts now. They are coming out with a secret, like, dessert flavor some point in the future. That's all I have to say.
Hi,
Legally
Taki.
obligated.
So, getting off your face there.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, Kayla, I kind of get the sense that back in the early 2000s, you were probably kind of like some of us going, well, if I don't have all the money in the world, let's go hang out over at Barnes and Nobles in the manga section.
Yeah, I pretty much lived in Barnes and Nobles. I remember my grandmother used to take me all the time to Barnes and Nobles, and um, she wouldn't always buy me books, but that was pretty much where I would go to kind of peruse the sections, not only manga, but again, graphic novels and like a lot of not self help books, but like art books in a way. Um, Anything on history, I actually enjoyed a lot too. Philosophy, sociology, things like that. I think my interest in those subjects also helped with my questioning when I talk to interviewers, kind of in a way trying to understand them in a way and making them feel comfortable with the questions that I ask. If some I remember in the beginning when I did interviews, especially when I talk to people who are LGBTQIA publicly as that, and I would ask them questions specifically about that in regards to their work, and I kind of saw that they kind of like winced a little bit, or maybe like frowned a little bit, because I think they're more than that, and their work is more than that, and maybe I didn't ask it in a more, I guess, gentle way or appropriate way, or maybe I shouldn't have asked it at all. I'm not really sure. I don't really ask it anymore. The same thing when I talk with to someone who is black, or someone who's Latin, or whatever it may be. They're more than just that, what they've told me a couple of times. So I just don't do that anymore. I just you just have to constantly make the adjustments is what I've learned as well as an interviewer.
I guess sometimes it's also not a bad idea to go and actively seek out bad interviews. And by that, I mean, you can find these top 10 sort of deals all over the place where it's like top 10 worst interviews. And there'll be somebody trying to interview Robert Downey Jr. back at the start of his career doing Iron Man. And right after they go, so you have a new movie coming out and it's called Iron Man. So how's that? Oh, well, I loved shooting it. It was a lot of fun. We had Gwyneth Paltrow. So you had drug addiction issues back in like, wait a second, that was no transition at all. You just went right for it. And
Uh-huh.
it's one of those, you can try it three different ways, but if the person keeps pushing back, you know that it's just going to go south from there. And you kind of know the reticence of somebody when they start pulling back a little bit, or
Uh-huh.
they fold their arms, or often I don't know because I'm on the spectrum myself. So I could just go down a rabbit hole and not know until I'm told after the show, Rob, what was that?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's another thing I had to learn was transitions and keeping the flow of the conversation, how to do that, and it's just being a conversationalist, which I'm not really used to. I'm very much introvert. I don't really speak to anybody unless I'm spoken to. Whereas I had to learn how to initiate conversation with people and to pick up on, I wouldn't say social cues, but like uh I guess facial recognition would be the right word to say. Yeah, this is things I had to really learn how to do, and then try to take that into in real life, because I was doing all the interviews online for like it's been like a year and a half now. So we're doing everything virtually. So I had to take that into real life when I speak to people, when I go to different events and stuff now. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a constant learning process and constantly making adjustments.
The in real life thing is a weird little transition because we all got used to this whole Zoom and
Uh,
talking to people by StreamYard. How weird is it that an entire pandemic hits for a couple years and it has not impacted like my social life at all? Until I realized, wait a second, when I go do in-person depositions and anything with an attorney, I got to realize real quick how many don't wash their hands. So now I'm that much more unwilling to shake hands.
yeah, people don't, they don't wash their hands, and then like I don't want to go to buffets. I don't want to. It's like those are gross. And then just anywhere where food is. Like going to the grocery store. Even I'm like I still wear my mask when I go into the grocery store. Anywhere where food is, like elevators, even in the hotels when I was at BlurCon or at MagFest or at KatsuCon and whatever it may be. When we're inside, I'll wear my mask. It's like I didn't realize how gross people were and how much we touch a lot of stuff, and then we touch our faces and we touch our phones. Like I wipe my phone down constantly too now.
It's like being out at a buffet going, "Hey, Kayla, you want this breadstick? Do you want this breadstick over here?" No, okay, I'll put it back.
Okay, I was always grossed out by like birthday cake specifically because you have all these snotty little kids just blowing all over the cake and feeding everybody the cake, and nobody understood that until COVID happened. I'm like, I have felt this way for years. Humans
that never bothered me, and I've never really been a big cake person anyway, so I never really ate the cake. But then now I'm like, I'm definitely not eating the cake now.
Yeah.
At this point, the cake is a lie, and this isn't rocket surgery. I will get sick if I eat somebody's spit-riddled cake.
Exactly.
And yes, Rose Gray, that's a great reminder. The poll ends in about 17, 18 minutes. So be that deciding vote. Has the comic book market gone cold as my lover's touch? Or is it hot because I'm rich? Or I don't care? So we're at about the 30-minute mark, and I don't know if you found some books that you picked up lately, but we do this little thing where we just show off what came out over the course of the week. I'm going to be picking up some really big Avengers book on Friday, so Lady's not on the show tonight, so Friday night we'll show the big books over there, but tonight, this week.
Oh, wow.
Just this week.
So you only got like 3 things, right?
Oh, no, forget Rogues. The only thing that hurts this is the fact that it came out 3 months after the second issue. So if you're ready, we're going to do comic therapy and we'll wrap up this show. So ready for some comic therapy?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring it up.
I'm going to get what I want.
Christ. Comic books. Comic books. Comic books.
Oh my god.
Comic books.
Let's get some
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 comic books. Comic books. All right. So who wants to go first? Ace, I know you have about 3. Chaos, if you have some manga or anything that you want to show, even if it didn't come out this week, if you haven't read it, it's new to you.
So my cousin, his name, he goes by the DA Experience on like pretty much every platform. He goes to the comic book place, one of our local comic book places, Comics, Cards, and Collectibles here in Baltimore, and he goes every Wednesday to pick up new comics. So this week he picked up Immortal X-Men issue.
Great Mark Brooks cover.
Let's see what else he picked up. I pretty much just look at all of them to see what's interesting and what should I go and pick up myself at some point. He goes so fast. Yeah, he goes and picks up a lot of X-Men, Strange Academy. What else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But one of them that if anyone's interested in, I would recommend is Immortal Dark. It's Immortal Dark manga. It's by he goes by Enoch the Poet. The Kickstarter for the second issue is up right now. Let's see, Icarus Metro again. Scarlet Ranger is a good one. Um, yeah, and then Head Cases. I read a little bit of that. They sent me a little bit of that, and I like that. I like what I like about the comic book creators that I speak to is that they kind of think outside of the box. They kind of have these really weird ideas that you don't see with a lot of mainstream publishers in a way, I guess, because they can't be too weird or too outside the box. So yeah, it's pretty much.
I don't know about being too weird because we just saw a release of a new Thor movie where the weirdest thing about it was two screaming goats.
Dreaming Goats, yeah.
I think they were supposed to be the comedy of the movie, but considering that we had a stage 4 cancer patient that they played for laughs, I don't know what's supposed to be comedy anymore.
Exactly.
Don't want to spoil anything for anybody out there, but did you see that movie yet?
I have not actually seen the movie yet, so I mean, I don't mind spoilers. I actually prefer them. I don't like to be surprised when I go to see the movies, but yeah, I don't want anyone else to be spoiled.
We don't exactly do spoilers. I mean, we totally do spoiler, but we try and do those at the end of the show. But spoiler alert for The God of Thunder. This isn't to make me say that it's a bad movie, but I can't quite say it's a good one either. Normally, I'm kind of used to when something is very successful, they throw a ton of money at the director and say, remake that, but with more money. This one, it was just weird for weird's sake, and a lot of it was detached. I loved Natalie Portman is God of Thunder herself. Gore the God Butcher, 4 minutes of character development, and then, hey, he's going to be zany the rest of the time. That was weird. But you know, it was really good this week, and I'm going to just drop one tiny little spoiler about that. But Ms. Marvel, did we watch that this week?
I have not.
Well, I hear that you pick up a lot of X-Men books, or rather he did. So here's going to be a tiny little spoiler for Ms. Marvel episode 6. While there's way too many comics that are coming out that are X-Men, where I'm saying no more mutants, except for today when we discovered that Kamala Khan in the MCU is a mutant.
Oh wow.
That just elevated everything for me. So those were the spoiler alerts. I just wanted to get those out of the way. And I don't know if you wind up trying to keep a tally of your comics. If you have any that you kind of wonder, well, what's this one worth? CLZ back at the beginning of the pandemic put in about 2 weeks putting every single one of these bastards in, only for them to go, oh yeah, we just introduced approximate grading. Like, God damn it, I didn't put any of those in. And oh, by the way, now we're dropping the price guide. Damn it, now I don't know how much anything's worth. Oh, they're coming back September. They're going to be coupling with cover price, brand new information that we all received last week. So we're looking forward to that in September. That's the news for today. So Ace, do you have any books that you want to show?
Yes. I got a nice stack with me today. First of all, shout out to one of my buddies for sending me this. I recently just sell out my books, and this is by Taylor Jenkins Reid, who is my favorite author, and makes me happy. Then I have The Way of the House Husband, which is iconic. Love him. Monologue Woven for You, Volume 2. Lesbians, musical theater. It's great. Then the best manga of all time, Dick Fight Island.
What? No. You can't just show that book and not say anything yet. What is that?
Okay.
No, I know it's yaoi, but
okay, so it's about this like island that has like these like different groups that like every few years to pick their leader, they have to like have this game where they wrestle naked and possibly have sex. And one of them goes to like America or some shit, and learns about the prostate gland and how that can induce an orgasm. And then he becomes like the greatest warrior of the island. Okay. And
Oh no. Oh no. Hold on, Ace.
this is number
Because
2. Number
I'm
2.
sorry, Ace, but because of what you just showed there, and I don't have any, but this is happening tonight.
No.
Sorry.
Warning, 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 warning. Banger alert, banger alert. Holy fucking shit. Look at that fucking book. Oh my fucking god. Look at that fucking book. Oh my fucking god. Look at that book. Jesus, Jesus. Oh my god.
I like turtles.
Horrendous.
Yeah, you're getting that just due to the fact that Dick Fight Island 2 is now out.
Wonderful Women of the World. Then Galaxy the Prettiest Star, which is adorable. Read it.
I think that's getting made into like a TV series or something.
Good. It deserves it. I haven't read this yet, but apparently if I've been told that this is Stray Dogs, if it was written for children type of thing.
Ooh.
I don't know how accurate that is, but you know. Lore Olympus, Volume 2. Super happy. And then I got some other things that were gifted. So got the Bronze Age Swamp Thing, Volume 1.
Oh, Bernie Wrightson is so good.
Wonder Woman Death Earth.
You only have
Earth
3
one?
more volumes to go.
Yeah. And then Vault sent me this. It's a Barnes & Noble exclusive dark one. Love it. And then Harleen Ivy. And as for comics, I will never ever in my life go without buying Maria Louvet. I don't care what horrible things are going on in my life. I can show the back cover of this and then that corner of the front without
I
being taken
kind of
down.
can take a guess.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I got these from Vault. This is Mindset.
And didn't Tyler Chin Tanner send some things?
Yes, that is coming in a minute.
Wee!
Then I pre-ordered Ivy, so I got a few of these. And that one. And then from last week's guest, he sent me a nice stack of comics. All from, well, most of them are from a Wave Blue World. We got Mezzo, which we talked about last week. And then,
9 covers.
yeah, he gave me like some like really rare stuff where there's like limited to 100 and stuff. And then he signed like I think all of them.
Damn.
And that was incredibly kind. So thank you, buddy. And that one. And that one. That. Then this is the newest issue of Mezzo. And then the Orphan King.
Yeah, and that's when on the very first page it shows exactly how many are printed of all of them, and some of them are like only 100.
Yeah. Then he gave me a signed copy of Killer Queens. And then a copy of the Mezzo trade with a little note. And then, like the surprise of all surprises ever, this Quest, the side variant from Vault that was only available on their Whatnot stream. And I think there's only 25 that exist. And he sent me one. Like, fuck with you, man. You're the best. That's all I have to show. Get off my face, please.
Way to go, Tyler. All right, so I didn't pick up a whole lot, and by that I mean I didn't pick up any book that was over cover price today. I know that's kind of rare. But Friday, Oh, Friday.
If there's Spawn or Batman, I'm gonna burn all your comics.
There's a couple Batman, including another cover from issue 125 that I didn't get last week because we didn't get it in. So I guess I'll change over to the camera to here and we'll go over here and I'll start showing some of the comics that came out this week. So here we go. And nothing is quite in order, so sorry. I got everything bagged and boarded or put in Mylar right before airtime. So Batman. Future State Gotham, newest issue. I'll probably be dropping this very soon or blowing out the whole series because I had an attorney earlier this week that we bonded over old comics where he said, yeah, I have a bunch of these old things in a box in my closet. One of them is where Captain America first appeared in the Marvel comics. And I go, you have an Avengers 4? It's like, yeah, and a 1, 2, 3. You can have the whole thing for like $12.50. So now I know what I'm saving up for. All right, here's Wolverine with, is this the Predator cover? Yes, it is. It's a little messy if you're looking at from a distance, but there's the Predator, because now we're getting Predator in the Marvel Universe, I guess. Kind of like Aliens, isn't a cover. They'll have a short-lived series, and then we probably won't hear about it again. Another issue of Wolverine. This is the A cover. Spider-Punk came out today, and it has some very Tetsuo sort of vibes from Akira going on there with one of the characters. It's been a neat little series. I can't really talk so much about it. The covers I like, but it's so weird that they're introducing characters like Black Widow 2099, completely different Black Widow. Winter Soldier 2099, a character exclusively that only really existed from like the 60s and 70s, but okay, yeah, let's put him 100 years in the future. Here we have, David Pepos. We're so glad that you're making it over there at Marvel. Savage Avengers. This is the Predator cover. And yes, Rose Gray, Spider-Punk. It's good. It's fun. It's different from most of the other Marvel titles. They're Spider-Man, notwithstanding Miles Morales, which is outstanding right now because they're introducing Salim taking over his alternate universe, Spider Smasher, Billy, his little sister, all grown up. It's good stuff. This is also really good too. It's another cover, a cover of his Savage Avengers. And yes, Dick Fight Island over Batman. I would kind of agree with that right now because there's way too much Batman. Just enough with the Batman already, really. Just like how I'm saying no more mutants, but I'm still getting it. New Mutants 27. Here we have the Geist or Gist cover. This guy is really, really cranking out some amazing stuff lately, especially his covers throughout Marvel and Spawn. No, but I am sorry. Moon Knight regular cover A. I guess some new vampires are introduced in this. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Haven't read anything this week. Marauders issue number 4. I'm still going to pick up their Marauders because it's Kitty Pryde, and I'll pick up anything Kitty Pryde centric. Sorry, Kate Pryde. Issue 45. We have one more issue to go before they introduce the sister of Mr. Fantastic. And in the very next issue, 47, David Pepos has taken over the Fantastic Four. Next up, we have another event series that I'm probably not going to read because why am I going to read it month to month when there's so many event series? And then I start kind of tying them together in my mind because I can't keep it all straight because I'm reading too many titles. So wait until the whole event series is out, blow right through it, and then I can keep it straight in my mind because we have like 3 event series going on in DC right now. Too much. I mean, shit, one is too much a year. Captain Marvel. This is the B cover for Spider Marvel? I don't know. We're all kind of hoping maybe one of them will hit like Gwenpool again. Here's the A cover for Ms. Marvel is Binary, the new Captain Marvel. No, it's not. It's just, it's kind of like her drone, but it has some sentience now. Maybe it'll get smarter. I hope so. Captain Carter, the B cover for issue 4, the penultimate issue, followed up by the second print of the Avengers Forever, where it introduces Black Panther as Vibranium Man. This alternate universe, all new characters. Who knows if they're ever going to tie into the regular stories. This is somehow still going, and I haven't read the last 3 issues, so I don't know what's going on. This is a brilliant little story because it's by Kieran Gillen. The covers by Mark Brooks have been nothing less than stellar. I still think he's an underrated artist, despite the fact all of his covers seem to really hit, but you never see him like take off like that Jock cover to Detective Comics 880. I don't know why. So I bought another issue of that Batgirls. This is the B cover where I'm going to give away all my Batgirls to Ace.
Thank you.
Welcome. Punisher issue number 4. This is actually good. I know some people are hating the new logo, but he's working with the Hand, and I don't think that's going to last forever. He's probably going to take it over and then kill them all, and then he's back as the Punisher. Nothing like an origin story to reset everything. And this is the second print of his first kill, where he kills some mobster that winds up beating somebody to death, and nobody does anything. It's kind of like Jason Aaron reread Watchmen and went, I'm going to write a more fucked up Rorschach. All right. We got David Nakayama doing his rendition of Daredevil issue number 1. So good, I had to pick up the regular 8 cover. Anything by Chip Zdarsky's great. I'm loving everything that he's writing, and I do mean everything, except for Sex Criminals, because I never got on board, but I will. I'll get it. This is the DC versus Vampires Coffin Edition to look a lot like the Lost Boys. This is the 1 through 3. Next, we have the Wonder Woman B cover. It looks like this is by Paul Pope. I'm not 100% though. Let me know in the chat. Hey, Immortal Biggie Shack. Yeah, I know I'm about to sow some bullshit. And bullshit to you is all the new books. And to be fair, a lot kind of that way this week. But I'll read most of them. Like, I'll definitely read this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is opening moves. You have the Rat King now kind of taking charge. And Shredder has to deal with it. All right, this is that Batman 125. I had to pick it up. It was $6.99. Why did I get it? It's acetate. And look how cool the bats are to form a very cartoony looking Batman face. I didn't see this when I first ordered it because, looking at it from a distance, my little colorblind ass winds up distorting everything until I see it up close and in person. Hey, another Batman, Urban Legends. Ace is really going to kick my ass the day that they wind up seeing me in person.
I will.
Now, here's something that I know that you'll like, or at least I hope so, because I watched the TV show with Flash, and they introduced a character called Dreamer, the first trans superhero in DC Comics, which I find myself having a hard time believing exists, because I remember a time when Batwoman, Kate Kane, had a romantic lover. She proposed marriage, and DC went, no, we're getting cold feet, not going to do it. So now they're deciding to make basically the entire Justice League the legacy characters, bisexual or gay. So because of non-binary representation month, want to make sure all are represented. So here we have the first appearance of Dreamer in Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 13. There it is, 13. Yeah, A cover. Then we're going to jump over to another CW show that has been canceled, but I've liked the first series. I haven't read the second yet, but this is issue 5 of 6. Rose Gray will take all the Batman. I got a King Spawn today too, but I have been shamed, I tell you, shamed into not showing Batman anymore, which is fair. It really, really is. It's 10:54. Right after I show the comics, I'm going to show you the results of the poll. Is the comic book market hot, or is it gone cold? I think that if you go into any comic book store right now and you ask the shop owner, so what's a hot book? They're going to try and sell you on stuff, but pretty much pick up a comic. Literally any comic book, that's a cold book. Here is issue number 11 of I Am Batman by the great John Ridley. He wrote 12 Years a Slave. It won an Oscar. He's writing comics. If you win an Oscar and you're writing a comic book, I'm picking it up. It's just the way it is. Here is X-Men Hellfire Gala. This is the Art Germ variant. It's not the 1 in 200 that people are paying dumbass money for. And I am going to say dumbass money, because if you like buying those ratios, good for you. Why aren't you buying older books? Those are better books. Invest in that. Are you even reading the ratios? No one reads ratios. You buy it for the cover. But what am I doing with these Wonder Woman B cover? They're
That's a
all.
pretty cover.
Oh, yeah, you're right. This is a cover. The beat cover was the Paul Pope one. This is the Paquette. And the last book that I picked up, no, second to last book, is Superman. This is the Dark Crisis one shot. And you got a kind of like a cover where Robin is getting shot in the face. Just bounces right off. But hey, welcome to America, right? Jesus. All right, the last cover, and well, I say cover because I haven't read it yet because issue 2, apparently I missed it. But between issues 2 and 3, 3 months wait period. So that kind of, it hurts things in sales a bit if you can't get it on a proper release schedule. So we're going to turn the camera on back. We do have a poll going on, and I know it's pretty recent for us doing these kind of polls here, but I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. And the poll tonight, the question was, let's bring this up, share screen, and here it is. Your moment is zen. Has the comic book market gone cold? So I will put this here, and there we go. All right, has the comic book market gone cold? Have you put your vote in? The voting has ended. The results are, I hate this poll, being with 4 votes. Has the comic book market gone cold? Of course, we don't want to talk about this, but hey, Neil Rogers back in the day here in South Florida had his polls on the radio, so now you're going to have to ride my poll. That meant exactly what it meant. The second coming in, the comic book market is cold as my lover's touch, with the comic book market is hot, receiving 0 votes. So it's pretty official. The comic book market's cold, but that's okay. That means it's a buyer's market, and if there's stuff you're looking for, you'll probably have a bit of an easier time unless it hit a top 10. And if it hit a top 10, wait 6 weeks, wait 6 months, and if the price hasn't come down, buy it immediately because it's not coming back down. So we want to throw out here to everybody that is on the show their contact information so you can reach them on Twitter, on YouTube. I'm going to put at the bottom of the screen and also in the description for this episode, you will find Solo Nerdbird's YouTube, their Twitter, their link tree. So this way you can go and sub up all the channels, all of them, every last one. So we want to thank all of the people that have watched tonight's episode, live viewers, replay viewers. We thank you so much. And more than anybody else, I want to thank Kayla Garner, KS Garner of Solo Nerdbird. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And where can people find you?
Pretty much everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, LinkedIn, WordPress. If you just put in Solo Nerdbird, it'll pop up. It's pretty much the same everywhere. So yeah, that's pretty much it. YouTube, obviously, I'm on there as well. A lot of the interviews are recorded. The videos are up on there. And I'm trying to see if I can get back into gaming to do my live streams on there as well.
Well, if it's coming to gaming, I am one person that you will never want to play against because I'm colorblind and I wind up walking off cliffs, walking into walls, killing my fellow teammates, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not. I'm a terrible gamer. I want to watch you play.
Is there any way you can make the adjustments to, I guess, the settings or anything like that? Or is that something that gaming is still kind of behind in right now?
Kind of like the controls for people that are more used to like the flight simulators where down is up is down. You can modify that. You can even modify it to some people that are colorblind, but mine's are blues, green, RGB. Reds, when it gets too dark, look like it's a different color. Anything that gets too light or too dark looks like a different color to me. So hues are weird, and looking at the ocean looks the exact opposite to you that it does to me.
Oh, okay.
You can play Among Us because they've recently added a feature where instead of you having to look at the colors themselves, it has like what the color actually is, like on top of the person's name. And a lot of visually impaired people and colorblind people really, really like that. And you should check that out on Steam.
that might be a try. I mean, most of my spare time these days have been putting all this stuff in Mylar. So my free time is shot these days. Otherwise, you'd have a whole lot more of these banners that you really hate, like this, I don't know.
Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV. Wow.
I don't hate the banners, only the ones that can cause me to have a seizure.
Yeah, we're not going to play those because sometimes there's only two people in this world, and, Pink Flamingo's got it right.
I guess there's just two kinds of people, Miss Sandstone. My kind of people and assholes. It's rather obvious which category you fit into. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. I love that. So, Ace, do you want to throw out where you are, or because people on the internet are the way they are, you just want to say, nope, have a nice day?
My response is to please buy Takis.
Bingo. Now that I can get behind. So I want to thank everybody for watching the show here. Another thing to bring up, the comic book store that I go to get everything at, that place is called Miami Fresh Comics, and he usually does his shows every Saturday at about late afternoon. Take a look at his Instagram. It's Miami Fresh Comics. It's where I get all my stuff. You'll want to get it at a good price too, and he does ship pretty quickly. So otherwise, thank you all for joining us. We'll be back next week, same time, same bat channel, maybe with a few extra people, maybe with a few less people. Who knows? This is week to week, just like everybody else. So read all your comics, or at least try to whittle it down so it doesn't keep growing, and love each other as much as you do your books. We'll see you next week. Love y'all. Good night. Yes, it's over. It's over. Why are you still watching? Go home. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to see this episode again, along with a catalog of back episodes and issues, surf on over to Not Near Mint on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe and hit that bell for